Greetings. Great to see lots of you joining us tonight. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. And for those who are watching this viewing later, I'm going to give you some background to our topic. I'll just give a couple more minutes, people joining still. Great to see you. Thanks for tuning in tonight. First, I acknowledge ladies and gentlemen because I want to give a clear message about who we are as a party. Conserving tradition, conserving our identity, conserving values and views that many New Zealanders hold, conserving the innocence of childhood. And for me, it's also about conserving what it is to be a woman. In fact, it's something that a majority of our ministers in Parliament actually can't seem to answer. Just ask our Associate Education Minister, Jan Taniti, what a woman is. But that's a topic for another time. However, all of these things must be protected. Now, for tonight, we are going to cover the Citizens-initiated referendum. But just for some background, a little over 3 years ago, I was still teaching in the senior school. That is intermediate age, around 11, 12-year-olds. Pre-puberty children, and then I came across some concerning content that was being introduced into the classroom lessons under the guise of inclusivity and diversity. Some would wonder, and actually you could question, that teachers previously haven't actually been inclusive to all children. However, it is happening in the classrooms right now. So what we did was I did some investigating and was appalled by the covert information that was being introduced without parental knowledge, and I decided to put a petition to Parliament to ask for some of this harmful content around gender ideology, for that to be removed. So the petition that I delivered to Parliament had over 40,000 signatures from other concerned parents and teaching staff, as well as some leaders of schools. So you can see it wasn't just for what I was concerned about. There's other professional bodies and parents like yourself, some of those watching now, who also had concerns. Now, after the petition, I spoke to a panel of 10 ministers in Parliament. And one of those ministers, and I quote, didn't seem to think there was a problem. The only thing he criticised was the fact that I had used some examples from overseas. Fortunately for Kieran McNulty, there are going to be some statistics in New Zealand because of the rapid increase of children who are self-identifying as transgender or some form of gender identity. And that is due to some unscrupulous teachers who are telling children that they can change their gender. I know that not all teachers are doing this, so there's only a handful of schools who are fully embracing this gender ideology. However, the concerning thing is the ministry actually are pushing for even more teaching of the gender ideology. So, for example, we have lesson content that has a gender spectrum, and it's telling children that they could be either a boy or a girl, and they can change from day to day even. There's a lot of lesson content that is disturbing around pronouns even. There's questions that teachers are asking children whether what they want to be identified as, which pronoun to use. And this is all without even parental knowledge. So what the school is in fact doing is teaching children to lie and be secretive from the parents. And this is happening from authority figures in the child's life at a school where you think that they're in a safe space. So we have some real concerns around this. Now, the reason why I have put a citizens-initiated referendum out is because it's clear that many New Zealanders now do not have faith in the process around petitions. As I said, there was over 40,000 people who signed this, and yet it's business as usual. In fact, even more of this, we have children identifying as, all sorts of different gender identification. Now, I can't give you all those words here apart from, there's so many of them. It's like there's pansexual, there's two-spirited. This language is in some of the content that parents are not even aware about. So the petition the proposal for the citizens-initiated referendum that I put to the Parliament, I did this about 4 months ago, and they sent out submissions to different government bodies. Now, there were 5 government bodies who opposed the citizens-initiated referendum for the very first question that I had around wanting the unscientific, harmful gender ideology to be removed from schools. So we had to change the question a little bit, and so they sent it back to those government bodies who opposed, and we still had some opposition. We had opposition from the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Justice, PPTA, and the Secretary for Education. And then the Human Rights Commissioner also jumped in recently. So tonight is about giving you an opportunity to ask me some questions, and I can see, sorry, there's a lot of questions. I've just tuned into all your questions. I'll try and answer them for you. Somebody said there's no sound. Oh gosh, sound is great. Okay, good. Which schools? Interesting. So I suggest you ask the schools where your children are, but I will actually talk about one particular school here in Christchurch where there was an assembly about a year ago, and this was supposed to be a coming out from a couple of boys, and they came out onto the stage dressed in dresses, and the staff all were encouraging the children in the audience, that's the whole school, to actually affirm and applaud these boys. Now, I have a video clip of this because one of the students who was actually disappointed that she was made to go and sit in this because she asked to sit out, but they said that she had to be there. Now, she videoed a clip of this, and I have seen it. So this is factual, and it looked to me like a drag show. This is not for schools. This is clearly an abuse of power that the Ministry of Education think it's okay to be bringing this into the schools. I'm not sure what we're supposed to be teaching children anymore, but it certainly isn't the reading, writing and arithmetic that it used to be. And we wonder why so many children are failing, or New Zealand, in fact, is actually failing in education, let alone the fact that we have a lot of children who are choosing not to go to school. Interestingly enough, though, with the truancy situation, we have our Associate Minister, Jan Tinetti, who I mentioned before, who wants to address truancy. But I think they're actually really confused about what the issues are here, because you've got the gender issues that children are probably fed up with learning about because it's being forced onto them. And it's clear that it is different to what they actually think the concept of male and female is. And then you've got things like climate catastrophizing. We have even, discrimination around racism, to blame all the different content. It's no surprise that children are not wanting to go to school anymore. So I'm just trying to see your questions. Teachers should be, I'll just throw a couple of these up if I can. Teachers should be dismissed for teaching nonsense. Charmaine, look, I think it's actually criminal that teachers are telling children that they can change their sex. Pansexual. Okay, so we've got William here. Pansexual is just attracted to anyone. Pretty easy to wrap our head around. Well, that might be for you, William, but we're talking about children here. So do children need to know what a pansexual is and all these other terms that they are expected to learn? Thanks for your comment. Great to see. Thanks, Rebecca. Nice to see you here. And it's really good to see that lots of parents are contacting their schools. Sorry, I'm just going through these questions here. From Karen, the female Labour MP argued on a Facebook page that males could have babies. Wow, we've heard all about that as well. Obviously, it created quite a number of comments, and a midwife said, "Excuse me, that's not right at all. How twisted is this thinking?" Right, I agree. Yeah, we've got some huge issues in society at the moment around language, and language is being hijacked. So as I said before, New Conservative, we are here to stand for all these areas and to remove the gender ideology from school. So I'll just go through a few more questions before I go back to the Citizens-initiated referendum. Okay, yep. Sorry, not sure what that is. Affirm their biological gender. Yes, that's right. It's a good point, Charmaine, because instead of actually affirming the fact that some children are confused in their bodies, I cannot fathom why we are not actually affirming the fact that they are perfect the way that their body is made. So we clearly have some things wrong in society. Sorry, Bradley, that's a hard one. Sort of promoted to teach this by the Ministry of Education. They feel pressured. For the majority of teachers, the government should be responsible for coercion. I agree, absolutely agree, 100%. I know that there are many teachers who have walked away because they are fed up with this, pushing this ideology. Karen says, my daughter is at high school, had questions she had to answer in this area. She got really angry at the teacher and said, this isn't something we have discussed in our home, and it's irrelevant to me that I need to be able to answer your questions, and I won't. Oh, Karen, well done to your daughter. Please let her know that we congratulate her for standing up. What I would like to say, though, is I'm actually really cross that our children have to deal with this, actually have to put up with this from people that are in authority over their lives in a school. This is something that adults, we need to be pushing back on, and we need to be standing up for our children, not putting them into hostile environments where they are the victims and they become threatened by this kind of language. We're all about making sure that everyone has their rights, but this is not a place in a schoolyard to be bringing politically driven ideologies into school. All right, I'll just see if I can find there's some more questions here. Something from Bradley. No, we've done that one. Okay. Hopefully I haven't missed any questions. So thank you for all your questions. If you have anything else, you're more than welcome to jump in. Yes, William, I can see that you have continued. That's fine. We're not talking about people that don't exist here, William. It's actually very rare for people to be born in the wrong body, William, and this is something that is certainly not for a school to be involved in teaching the whole school, thereby confusing other children about their identities. William, I'll move on to Vivian. Teach our children to firmly stand on what they are, even if they are the odd one out. I agree, we have to do that, but it's very unfortunate that we have to do that. To send our children, like I said, into a hostile environment. It's not something that our children should have to be standing up to. William, William, I think you've had yours. I'll give it a chance for some others to comment. Right, so we have the Citizens-initiated referendum, and that has been approved after some opposition, which is great to see. So the question is, where are we? Find it. The final determination of the question is, should the concept that people can be born in the wrong body and change sex be taught in New Zealand schools? So this Citizens-initiated referendum has got 12 months. So the idea is we will head out there, we will travel up and down the country, getting your signatures. If you would like to be involved in this campaign, we need more hands on deck. So just send me an email the Office of New Conservative. We can send you out the forms, or I'm pretty sure that our secretary has put them onto our website for you to download. So if you'd like to do that, just a few requirements though. There's some requirements around the forms, and they are that you need to make sure that you are not marking the form with anything else, writing on it, anything except for the address, the details of the person who is signing it. And you also cannot just photocopy that to send it back to the office. You do need to send that copy to the office. So if you have any questions about that, just put it through here. So, all right, I'll just see, where are we? Rachel. Oh, yes, Rachel. So for anorexia, which is body dysphoria as well, we don't come into agreement with it and tell the person that is normal. Yes, you're right, you are fat and obese, and I'll help you restrict food. We get their mental health support and bring them back to the truth that they are okay, size and not obese. So why do we say to a person who thinks they are the other sex that they are correct, and that we are willing to support their transition, genital mutilation, and not provide truth like that with that? Yes, you're right, Rachel. The unfortunate thing is most of the content that is in the sexuality guideline is all about glorifying what transgenderism is and gender dysphoria. They don't talk about the fact that there's a lifetime of surgical intervention, drugs, and also what that all entails. So it's what we're pushing in schools on vulnerable minds is really, like I said before, criminal. Thanks, Rachel. Just show what Angela. There's a comment here from Angela. I hated the whole menstruational thing, but yep, sorry. But never did come to my mind to alter the natural process. Angela, you made a really good point. It's natural to go through puberty. We all know that. We all have to go through puberty, and the majority of preteens actually struggle to go through puberty. So we have got preteens now who are hearing content, and if they are in that stage where they are struggling and with the genitals or whatever that is developing, all they're hearing is that they can halt their puberty. And who's not going to want to jump on that when you're a child and don't understand all that process? So we are causing huge issues around this. We don't even talk about tomboys anymore. And I have girlfriends who were tomboys when they were teenagers. Now, those girls are horrified to think that, those women are horrified to think that when they were young girls that this would have been basically pushed, that maybe they should have been born a boy. Donna, I'm concerned with how far they are going to take this. They make unisex toilets at school. Yes, that is already happening. You're correct. It's also the boys, going into the girls' sporting teams. So this is something else that will be addressed as well. Yep, you're right. Thanks for that comment, Donna. Okay, and sexual. So thank you for your questions. If there's anything more that you would like to talk about with the Citizens-initiated referendum, you can also email me. But the important thing is we start getting our signatures for this. So we've got 12 months to get 10% of eligible voters to sign this petition, and then it will go through to Parliament. I just want to make mention too that some of the opposition, the first lot of submissions that came through, one was from the Teaching Council, and basically they made it very clear in the opposition of the Citizens-initiated referendum question that any teaching staff who breach the guidelines that they have put out around this gender ideology may result in disciplinary action. So I'm fairly certain that you all know that that was kind of a bit of a subtle threat there. So gone are the days of actually having your own opinion, views and beliefs and being able to to talk about those things. Yes. Also gone are the days where we have got safe spaces for our children. If anything, it's a wonder. Yeah, like I said, there's not, a lot of children that are attending at the moment. I believe that this government has got things wrong in our education system, like in many areas. I think the system is broken. I think it is corrupt. I think it is not fit for purpose. Okay, Karen, yes, I disagree with unisex toilets in schools, and any parents who aren't comfortable with it also have those rights to be heard. Correct. My daughter is at a girls' high school. There are girls there now dressing in trousers and a male uniform. This wasn't like it when my oldest daughter was there 5 years ago. Those girls shouldn't go to school those girls shouldn't go to a girls' school. It only makes things difficult in a girls-only school environment. Yep, and you're allowed your thoughts. Thanks, Karen. Right. I want to read something to you because out of the 5 submissions that opposed this Citizens-initiated referendum question, there was one who was for it that I'd like to just read a statement from here. This is from a parent who has gone through this process with her child in our schools here in Christchurch. And I've actually spoken and met with a couple of mums now who have got their children have gone through the transgender process. So I'm just going to read this to you. When a school guidance counsellor calls to tell a parent that their usually happy child is suicidal, and a few weeks later to say their child is actually transgender and has to be affirmed with the new name and pronouns or else they will suicide, by the very virtue of the right of their authority, they are engaging in gaslighting and as such are highly abusive. As if a mere name that children have been answering to their whole life, or the natural and awkward phase of puberty, suddenly has the power to magically enforce death. Critical thinking, even for an adult, is impossible when a person is coerced or under duress, and activist ideologies know this. They take advantage of their position of influence to indoctrinate impressionable minds for the purpose of validating their own egos. Children don't stand a chance. She also goes on here, every vulnerable youth that is encouraged into this mindset is worth 1.3 million US in the form of therapy, pharmaceuticals and surgery. Governments, medical professionals and schools are incredibly quick to use psychopathetic games to silence and manipulate anyone asking questions. Okay, I'm just going to show this another question here from Katrina. There are now 40,000 members in the detransitioners group on Reddit. 40,000 members. These are young people who have adopted a trans identity in their teens and have often undergone physical changes through taking opposite sex hormones and regret it when they're a few years older. There is currently no support for them from any health or government organisation. So I read that slowly. So I hope that sinks in because there's a lot of support or a lot of people pushing for children to go down this path. But I have heard, like what Katrina has mentioned, that once somebody who's been down this path wants to transition back and realises that they have made a mistake, they are dropped and there is no support for them. Thank you, Katrina. We could talk about many different examples tonight, but I am aware that this was just a quick update about the Citizens-initiated referendum. More than happy to update you at another time about some of the lesson content, about what some teachers are actually giving to your children. It is not only the gender ideology that we have issues with around what's happening in our schools. I have seen some sexuality lessons that I'm horrified by. These are children that where basically some teachers are giving them lesson content that is no different than just encouraging sexual experimentation. It's shocking. And some of these teachers are also talking about their own sexual identity to children. In my book, I'm pretty sure an adult talking to children about their own sexual identity is on the verge of, it's criminal. And I know that there was a teacher who gave some pretty shocking lesson content to a classroom probably only a couple of months ago, and many of you might have seen that on the news. It was actually filth, and this got into the newspaper, so it was quite astonishing, and yet this teacher is still teaching, and they didn't feel it necessary to dismiss the teacher. However, for somebody like myself who is standing up for the innocence of our children and calling for better protections around them, I will be sanctioned and probably not given a teaching job ever again. However, that's okay, because I'm heading to Parliament to ensure that we have better protections for children. So thank you for tuning in tonight. We've got, where are we? We've got Sarah, is the 40,000 children here in New Zealand worldwide? I think Reddit is a worldwide thing, but maybe, who was that from? That was from Katrina. Maybe Katrina can jump in and answer that. Pretty sure it was worldwide. But look, we know that this is huge happening here in New Zealand now. As I said, 3 years ago, Kieran McNulty, the MP, didn't think it was a problem because I was collecting data from overseas. But yeah, fortunately, but unfortunately for our children here in New Zealand, there will be data here in New Zealand. I've already spoken to a couple of mums about this, and yeah, worldwide. Okay, thank you. So just a little bit of context also around how I can see this impacts our children is while I was still teaching, I actually was relief teaching at a particular school, and I went in one day after the senior school had the lessons around the gender ideology, and I saw some results that were quite frightening. So this particular boy, he was starting to question already what he would look like as a female. So this is something that we all need to be concerned about. So I encourage and urge you to get the forms, share it with all of your contacts, and stand outside your local school. Get those signatures coming in. Okay, we've got Donna. I rang my kids' school and told them that my children are not to be in the health and sexuality classes that are now being held for years 7 and 8 classes. I would rather teach my children age at an appropriate age. And you've got a good point there, Donna. These things that we can still be talking to our children about, but it's not actually up to teachers or even facilitators that are coming in telling your children this stuff when you have got your own views around this, and yet you're not able to be the first one to talk to your children about it. So yeah, thanks, Donna. And where are we? I've got Charmaine. Yes, absolutely, do that as well. Thank you, Charmaine, because there is no other party, especially no MPs in Parliament, who are standing up for this. there is no MP that is talking about what a woman is. And I have said that that's on my agenda to make sure that we do know what women are. So yeah, we're not going along with some delusions that are out there around the different pronouns or other language. Just because the ministry and different people in the ministry think that we need to have some progression in society doesn't make it right or agreed on by the majority of New Zealanders. Okay, looks like that's all for the questions. So yes, I just will finish with one thing, just to say that there are some whack jobs, yes, I said whack jobs, who are misleading our youth into thinking that they can halt puberty to wait till they feel comfortable and decide the gender that they want to be. To make it clear, you cannot decide what gender you will be. You are born either male or female, and we all know, and we've talked about that it is a very rare condition of intersex, but this is not what we're talking about tonight. So thank you for tuning in, and we will keep in touch, let you know how that Citizens-initiated referendum is going. Please email, download the forms and send them through to us. Look forward to talking to you again soon. Thank you.